All right, so we're going to talk a little bit today about how to insert images into Gravit and then turn them into template layers so that you can use them for things like tracing and stuff like that. And this is great for use with real photos or anything you're trying to duplicate for an educational reason. So I jumped over to Google Images and we're just going to look up something. Let's pick something. Let's go unicorn. Okay, so we've got a unicorn. Um, when we go through this, one of the things you always want to make sure that you're doing is you're finding images that you're allowed to use. So go to tools, go to usage rights, and we're going to go with Creative Commons because that generally allows us to use an object um, for our purposes so long as we're not commercializing it or redistributing it. If we're just using it for personal use, we can generally get away with using these, especially for class. So it's something we don't have to worry too much about right then. So let's say we want something real simple. We just want this um, outline. So I'm going to go ahead and right click. I'm going to save that image. I'm just going to save it on my desktop and I'm going to call it unicorn outline. And then maybe we also decide we want something a little more colorful. So we're going to save this image and this is going to be unicorn color. I've got these two things saved. So now we can just jump right over to Gravit. I'm going to make my screen a little bit bigger there. And what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to go up to File. We've already created a page, but we're going to go to File and we're going to import and we're going to place an image. And I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to look for my unicorn. So there's my unicorn outline, hit open. And there it is. It's dropped that image in. And now I can sort of move it around, play with it, do whatever I want to. I can also go File, Import, Place Image, get my colored unicorn. I'm just going to put both of these on the same page. Now, what's really nice with all these programs is that we can use these as templates. And the easy way to do that is pretty simple. So I'm going to create a new layer. I just hit the plus button there, create a new layer. And I'm going to call this image template. And I'm going to drag both of my images into that shape. Now, you could obviously lock this, and that way you can't mess with it. So you could then zoom in and start drawing on top of it. But there's a better thing to do that makes life a little easier. So I'm going to unlock it real quick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here with both of these selected. I'm going to look at the opacity of these images. Right now it's at 100%, which is basically saying, hey, these objects are solid. They're like a solid piece of paper. You can't see me because this Post-it set is blocking me. But you can also get stuff that is transparent or less opaque. So for example, here is a plastic bag that is not 100% opaque. So you can still see me through the bag. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to drop this down from 100% down to maybe about 20. And you notice they just sort of fade out in the background. And it's really kind of useful for when we're actually doing our tracing. So I'll go ahead and lock these now. And I'm going to zoom in. I'm just going to zoom in right down here. And so now that they're faded out, when you come in with something like the pen tool, because you're going to try and duplicate this, you'll still be able to see the image, but you'll also be able to see your outline a little bit easier. Don't mess that one up. Like I said, you'll be able to see your outline a little easier as you work. Okay. So that's sort of the idea is that you can still see this outline, but your actual artwork is still solid and opaque. So you can see where you're at and what is the original image and what you've already done. But that's the real basics of inserting an image, turning it into a template, and using that to create a tracing layer for your work.